Okay, so now we have to do quite a bit of cleanup here. Let's go back to vertex. We're just going to zoom in on one side, and you can see that chamfer, made a real mess here. So let's go to target weld, and we're just going to start, kind of cleaning this up. I'm going to start back here and just weld this vert over to this one to this one, this one to this one. Let me just right click there. Okay, so what we want to do is kind of just bring these in so we can actually attach them to some of these verts here. Okay, so let's do this one to this one, over to this one. We'll bring this right back to this corner, and we'll just kind of attach these up. Okay, so let's bring this over to here, and this one over to here, this one over to here, and don't worry about the overlapping polygon there. Let's maybe connect this edge going this way rather than to this vert over here. I'm just going to connect that up, and then we're just going to take this one out. Okay, and it's not going to be quads right now, but we'll fix that later on. Do the same thing over on this edge. Okay, so back to target weld, and just start, collapsing this up. And we want to make sure that, we kind of get it even on each side here, so I want to connect this to the same point. Okay. So bring it down to this one, and we'll just weld these over to this point here. Okay, so we have the same edge flow on both sides. Now if you have an overlapping polygon here, which we do, you can actually just fix that by deleting the polygon there, then selecting the border and capping it. Okay, and that'll stick that polygon to those verts. But again, that's because we don't have quads here. But we'll fix that in a little bit. Okay, and if you want to, you can come into the top view and just straighten out some of these edges. Alright, so I'm just going to grab that there at the back, and we'll just pull this over, like so. Same thing over here. Just gotta straighten these out. And this isn't really necessary, but I like having everything even when I model, so I'm just gonna do it quick. Just gonna straighten these out. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but nothing wrong with a clean mesh. Okay, and now down at the bottom, we're gonna have the same problem here. We're gonna have some cleanup to do, and I think I might just leave it for now. We could weld some of these up, but again, we're gonna probably detach this later on and then do a low res version of it for the underneath, so we probably don't need to worry about too much about cleaning up that mesh right now. Let's just quad some of these up. Okay, so let's go over to this edge here. I'm going to do a ring. Okay, that's going to go around to the other side, which is what I want. So we'll connect it up in one segment. Go into the top view, and we'll just slide this up to about here. Okay, and then we'll connect these verts. Alright, so this guy to this guy, this one to this one, and we can continue some of these loops around the back. And so I'm going to do a ring on this one and a ring on that. Let's actually get rid of this edge here. We don't need this one or this one. That's pretty much flat there. That's not really doing anything for the silhouette, so we can control backspace those out, and that's one less edge we need to connect. Alright, so let's bring these two back edges and connect them up again. Just going to go into the top view here, or the back view, sorry. And I'm just going to do them right in the center. That's close enough. So we'll just connect this vert to this vert, and this vert to this vert. Okay, and again, if you want to be finicky, just straighten those out quick on each side. Okay, we still have N-gons here, which we'll clean up a little later on probably. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. That'll give us a void to fit in that top piece. So let's unhide all. Let's also delete this cylinder piece. We don't need that anymore. And we'll just kind of build this out to fit into that hole there. I'm still going to just move this up just a little bit above the mesh. And we'll start working on this back piece. Okay, so let's hit Alt-Q with that selected. So we can go into isolation mode. Okay, we're going to need to support this shape. Now I'm not going to use the shell modifier on this to get thickness. The reason for that is because this corner here is going to be a probably a pretty big problem if we use a scale modifier. It's going to whack out that corner. A lot of times it's actually easier just to manually do it, so that's what I'm going to do quick. Just going to grab this front edge, do a loop, sorry, and then we'll deselect it from this point here. Okay, and we're just going to shift drag this down on the y-axis. Okay, and make sure you don't have your edge constraints on or anything else, you won't be able to pull that down. Okay, so we'll just extract it down like that, and then we'll select these ones here on the curve, and we'll go to the front view, and we'll just shift it straight down for now, and then we're going to have to move some of these edges over. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that down about the same thickness there in the corner, like that, and we'll go to the front view now, and we'll just move a couple of these verts around. We don't want these to be straight down like this. We're just going to kind of move them over. I'm just going to put on my edge constraint here and slide that vert up the edge. Okay, so we can kind of tweak those edges in. Okay, we could move this one over. It might whack out the angle first a little bit, but we'll see in a second. Okay, and I'm just going to leave that bottom one there straight for now. Okay, and you can see that kind of went out of position there, so let's fix that in the top view. Just going to zoom in, turn off my edge constraint, and we'll actually just move this over and line it up with this vert here so that the edge isn't bent. Okay, same thing with this one, we'll just move that over under there. And this guy here, I think we'll leave that one, and we do need to pull this over a little bit, so I'm just going to line it up with the edge in the top view, like that. Alright, it doesn't matter if that's perfectly flat, but you want it to get, you know, as close as you can. Okay, and let's just pull this edge down for a second. Okay, so I'm going to grab that side edge as well as these back ones. Let's do a loop on that, and deselect these ones here. Okay, so just around this bottom square piece here. Same thing, make sure we deselect that guy, and we'll just shift drag this down and line it up in the front view. Okay, and we can probably pull this whole thing up a little bit. We don't need to be down that far, but we'll just weld it up first. Okay, so let's go over to vertex. Should have two verts here on the corner. So we'll just do a weld and just crank that up until they weld together. Same thing here, we'll have two verts. So just weld those, and that'll give some thickness there on the edge. It's not exactly even right now. We can fix that a little bit maybe by just moving this down. Maybe these ones, let's move them in a bit. Okay, whenever you have a corner like this, it's always difficult to get even, because obviously we can't just pull this vert over like this to even out these polygons here, because it's going to put that edge underneath, and we want to have it straight on the sides. Alright, so I'm just going to move it out slightly maybe. Now let's just leave it like that. We'll fix it later on if we need to. Okay, so now let's go over here and we'll kind of chamfer this edge down to match the edge on the body. But again, this is probably going to be in the way, so let's add an extra segment here. Go to the new edge, ring this edge here, do a connect, one segment. We go into the top view. Whoops. And we'll just straighten this out. Make planar on Y, and we'll push this up to about there. And then we'll just target weld these verts here over to this one. Okay, now just give us enough room in the corner so we can chamfer that edge down. Okay, so let's go to edge, grab that corner edge, right click on hide all, and we'll go to the top view here and just see how much we need to adjust this. Okay, and you can see that we're a little bit over from where we need to be. Okay, so let's actually readjust our box. Alright, so let's grab the body there. Okay, I'm just going to grab these edges here. Now let's do all of them. Okay, so I'm just going to select those edges. I'm just going to bring it over a little bit so it's not as big of a gap. Maybe like that. Okay, and we'll do the same thing over on this side. let's do that one after when we get the other half in here. It'll be easier. Okay, so now let's go back to edge and chamfer this edge down. Okay, so let's chamfer that out. Crank this up as well as the segments, and we did 4, so let's do 4 here. It's gonna move that over roughly like that. About 50 or so should be good with 4 segments. And okay, and then we'll just grab these verts here, slightly slide it back here so we can even out that gap. Okay, I think that looks good for now. Later on we'll, make sure that we have an even gap all the way around it. Okay, so let's hit Alt-Q one more time, and we'll just support the shape here so we can turbo smooth it. We're going to need one obviously around the hole here, or around the edge, sorry. So let's do a ring on this one as well as this one. Ring those out, and then we can deselect these ones here. We don't need them. We just want it to come down to this point here. Get rid of that one as well. So we'll do a connect, and we'll just slide this. Let's just do 2 segments. Occasionally you'll get one where you can't slide it properly, so in that case you can just do 2. Pinch them out to where you want them. Let's do about 92 or so with 2 segments, and okay, and then we'll just loop this edge and control backspace it out. Okay, now we have a little triangle here, so we'll just weld that up quick. Okay, and if it needs to be adjusted, we'll just pull it over a little bit in the top view. Okay, and we also need some across this part here, so let's do a ring on this edge, connect that up, 1 segment, slide it down, and we don't want this to be super sharp, so let's do it something like that, maybe about -65. Okay, and that corner might need some work later on, but we'll see how it looks. Okay, so we'll do a ring on this edge and just bring that over to the same amount. Okay, about -96 on this one with 1 segment. And okay, and then over here, you can see this a little farther away, so we're just going to kind of slide this over a little bit. Just going to put my edge constraint on and just slightly pull that over. Okay, and we also need a support edge here continuing around, and the easiest way to do that is with inset. Okay, so just grab these polygons here, go into the top view, zoom in over here where we have that other edge, and we'll just inset this and kind of adjust the amount here. Okay, so about 0.65 in there, and okay, and then we'll go back into edge, and we'll just loop this edge here and control backspace it out, and then we'll target weld the extra vert back to this one. Okay, just like that, and then over here we'll have an extra edge as well. And for this one, we don't want to target weld it, we actually want to delete this polygon and move this vert over so it's in alignment in the top view. Okay, so take off the edge constraint there and just slide that over on the X until it's straight. Okay, so that'll continue our edge flow around the shape here, and we also need to add one final one around this part. Okay, so let's do a ring and a connect, and we'll just slide that a little bit down from the top. We don't want it to be too sharp, but let's do about -70. Okay, and that loop should continue all the way around the front for us. Okay, and now you remember we put that extra edge into the back here, and we want that to be a little bit more prominent, so we're going to add one more loop right about here. So let's ring these edges and connect it, and we're just going to slide that down a bit. Okay, then it'll give us a little bit more of a hard spot, and let's actually do it maybe underneath it rather than doing it on top. I'm just going to cancel that and ring this edge instead. Okay, I'll bring that up, something like that. Okay, so let's go into the top view, zoom back on it by hitting Z, add a symmetry modifier on the X, and then make sure they're attached up in the middle here. If there's a gap there, just move the mirror over. If not, just right click and convert to pulley. Okay, and then we'll put on turbo smooth with 2 iterations, nice line, and just check out our shape here and make sure it's okay. Okay, so we look pretty good. We don't have any artifacting, and this corner here is a little bit whacked out, but I think we're okay to go on that one. I don't think we really need to worry about fixing that. It's pretty much in the inside of the top anyways. Okay, so I think we're good on this piece. Let's unhide all. Okay, and we'll start working on this front piece, and this will be a little bit easier. Before we actually add some thickness to it, we actually want to bring in this bottom edge a little bit more. So it's kind of curving underneath. Okay, so let's do a loop on that. And we'll go into maybe the front view. I'm just going to hold down shift and extract the edge down. And actually, let me undo that with Control Z. Let's put a symmetry on first so we can scale it evenly. Okay, so I'm just going to add another symmetry to this piece on the X again, convert it to editable poly, and then we'll ring that bottom edge, or loop that bottom edge, sorry, and shift drag it down holding, or with the move tool holding shift. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down like that, and we'll kind of scale it in here. Alright, so we'll scale it on the X and Y at the same time. Okay, we kind of want to tuck it underneath, so I'm going to bring it in quite a bit. Okay, and we'll just kind of bring it up, maybe a little bit more, so it's a little bit more sharp. Okay, I think we also might need to thicken this front piece up a bit. Let's go back to vertex, grab the verts up to that point. I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit, and then we'll grab these ones here and bring it down a little bit more, just to get a little bit more of a fat front on it. Okay, so something like that, and you can see that the scale didn't do a very even job here. So to fix that, we can just go into the front and go back to our edge, the inside edge there at the bottom, this one, and we actually just move that back on the Y to kind of even it out here. All right, I wanted it to be pretty even all the way around, more like that. Okay. And now we'll just get out of edge, hit Alt Q, turn off the selection brackets, and for this guy we'll just use an actual shell modifier on this to make it easier. So let's add a shell. Okay, and we want to do an inner amount, not an outer amount, so we'll zero that out, and then we'll take this up to say about 6. Okay, and again, sometimes the shell, is kind of wacky. Let's go down to the bottom here. We'll hit straighten corners, and I'll try to fix any of the extrusion errors. And we also don't need to have the inside polygons on this. So let's maybe go up to the top. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. Let's do about 8. Okay, and I don't really like the way that these are extruding in like this. You can see it's not very even. It's more flat topped, but I think that might be okay. Let's try it. Okay, so we want to go down to the bottom here. Check on straighten corners. I'm going to check on select interfaces. Okay, so we can delete these out, and sometimes if you do this and then you convert it back to editable poly and go back to your polygon selection, these won't be selected correctly, and they should be, but sometimes they're not. So if you want to get around that, you can actually just drop on an edit poly on top of the shell with these selected. Right, so if you put on edit poly here and then go to polygon, we're going to have that same inner selection. Okay, so what we can do here is just hit delete, get out of polygon, and right click and convert to edit poly. Sorry, edit poly, not edit mesh. Okay, so that'll give us the edge extraction all the way around this, and now all we need to do is add some support edges. Okay, so I'm just going to ring this edge here, connect it up, and we'll just slide that over a little bit towards the outside. And let's do about 50. Okay, and I'm just going to see what it looks like with some smoothing. I don't know if we will really need to add ones around each corner. Let's add a turbo smooth now with 2 iterations. And nice line. Okay, we'll just see how this looks. Okay, so let's unhide all, and we'll see how these 2 pieces fit together. Okay, you can see we're a little off on this side, but that's okay. We actually want to set this piece a little higher than the other one anyways, so we have a little bit more of a reveal. Alright, so with that selected, I'm just going to move it up a little bit. Okay, and if you want to fix this here, make it a little tighter, you can just easily pull these verts down. If you go to vertex with Control Smooth, turn on Show and Result, grab these verts here, and these ones over on the side. Okay, you can actually just move these over, and we might want to grab these ones here as well. So let's grab those on each side, holding Control, and we can freely just move this in a bit on the Y to close that up. Okay, that looks fine. All right, so we have a pretty even gap there. Okay, and we can also set this back down a little bit further into the body. Okay, so I'm going to grab both these pieces and just tuck it down. Okay, I want it to be sticking out about like that. Okay, you can see that's raised up a bit. Okay, and it looks like that hardened up that edge for us as well in the back. Okay, so we're good to go on that top door. We still need to do quite a bit of work on the body to make this fit correctly. Okay,